Good evening, all you sports fans out there. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network presents the DCTV 4-H Evening News Program for Monday, January 11th, 2016. Our camera person today is Keegan. Our video engineer and producer is Russell. Our sound engineer is Dan. Our teleprompter is Myra. And this is the Brendan Holiday Show. And this is the news director. But before I do that, I sincerely hope all of you guys watch some of those football games. In fact, the football game with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers was the most remarkable game I've watched in years. To watch a game implode in the last minute and a half like that is absolutely remarkable. But that's not the news that we're talking about. So here we go. And now the news with Mr. Brendan.
Welcome to the DCTV News and Weather Program. Help keep our kids' news show on the air by becoming a sponsor. To buy a sponsorship, just call 970-677-4119. Thank you, and now... Hello, I am Brennan, and I'll be giving you the following story from the Court Test Journal. Things to know about valley fever. Valley fever is caused by a fungus that lives in the environment. People get valley fever by breathing the microscopic airborne fungal spores. Valley fever does not generally spread between people. Symptoms of valley fever are usually similar to the flu. The U.S. over 65% of valley fever cases occur in Arizona and 30% occur in California. Most of the cases occur in Nevada, Utah, and New Mexico. Groups of people who are more likely to develop the severe form of valley fever or develop an infection that spreads beyond the lungs include people who have weakened immune systems, pregnant women who have diabetes, and people who are Black or Filipino. Now I will be giving you the following story about the CO2. Giant icebergs play key role in removing CO2 from the atmosphere. Pioneering research from the University of Sheffield's Department of Geology discovered melting water from giant icebergs, which contain iron and other nutrient supports here little unexpectedly high levels of photoplankton growth. This activity, known as carbon sequestration, contributes to long-term storage of atmospheric carbon dioxide, therefore helping to slow global warming. During the study of a team of scientists led by the Professor Grant Big analyzed 175 Seattle images of ocean color, which is an indicator of photoplankton productivity at the ocean surface from the range of icebergs in the Southern Ocean, which were at least 18 kilometers in length. The images from 2003 to 2013 showed enhanced photoplankton productivity, which has direct impact on carbon storage in the ocean, extends hundreds of kilometers from giant icebergs, and persists for at least 1 month after the iceberg passes. Now within the following story from the Durango Herald. 100 years ago, While working out in the Lighter Creek section in December, Willie Johnson and Admissus County lad did a little trapping by the way of recreation and succeeded in catching 7 coyotes. The skins of animals netted him $16 in addition to the bounties. 75 years ago, glowing accounts of Old South and being given by Mr. and Mrs. J.E. Lee, who, with their son-daughter, returned from three weeks motor trip down Mississippi Valley through Tennessee and Louisiana along the Gulf of Mexico to Galveston and Houston and many other points of interest. 50 years ago, an enjoyable weekend event was at lunch at the Purgatory Lodge for the stockholders of San Juan Development Corp. Following the dedication, while roast beef was most popular dish, the more sophisticated of the skiing crowd chose sauerkraut and sausage, which was well liked by those who spend their day on the slopes. 25 years ago, a small herd of elk was spotted just west of the Ilmer store on Highway 160 at the KOA campground, according to Colorado Division of Wildlife. The campground and the nearby South Fort Ranch are major migratory routes for the elk, and 300 to 400 elk will pass these areas during season migration. Now for dumb laws in Kentucky. Throwing eggs at a public speaker could result in up to 1 year in prison. This law was repealed in 1975. Maybe it should be reinstated for just this election year. One may not dye a ducking blue and offer it for sale unless more than 6 are for sale at once. It is illegal to fish with a bow and arrow in Kentucky. In Fort Thomas, dogs may not molest in cars. In Owensboro, a woman may not buy a hat without her husband's permission. Now here is the weather. This is meteorologist Brendan, and I'll be giving you the current weather report. The current temperature is 32 degrees. The high for today was 34 degrees. The low was 61 degrees. Winds are up from 1 to 5 miles per hour in the northwest. The barometer is at 30.27 inches and is steady. The humidity is at 99%. Today there has been 0.07 inch measured by the DCTV weather station. Moisture for the month, 0.14 inch. Now here's our national weather outlook. I am your national weather reporter, and I'll be giving you the big map. CO2 is falling from Washington. Snow is falling from Washington into North California into Montana and Wyoming. Northern California has some rain too. We have a high over the Four Corners that is keep most of the west clear. More snow is falling semicircular pattern from Montana and Wyoming across the North Country up into Virginia and Maine. The south part of the nation is clear, and is much of the east coast. One exception from the south exception is South Florida where there is rain. This is your weather forecaster, Brennan, and I'll be giving you the 5-day. Tuesday, mostly sunny, high 30, low 1. Wednesday, partly sunny, high 34, low 7. Thursday, partly sunny, high 32, low 9. Friday, mostly cloudy, high 30, low 7. Saturday, mostly cloudy, high 31, low 13. Now for our climate change report. This is climatologist Brennan, and I'll be giving you the CO2 report. Carbon dioxide, CO2, is one of the principal causes of climate change, and it is important that we report the CO2 weekly change. CO2 traps heat in the atmosphere, which causes climate instability, resulting in significant swings worldwide hot and cold temperatures. The following are the CO2 numbers for this week. CO2 for the week of January 11th, 2016 in parts per million is 402.10. CO2 2 weeks ago, 402.07. CO2 last year, 399.87. CO2 10 years ago, 381.18. CO2 50 years ago, 320.62. Thank you, Dr. Peter Tanz of the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration and Michael McGee of the CO2 Now website for this information. Remember, you could help keep our kids' new show on the air by becoming a sponsor. To buy a sponsorship, just call 970-677-4119. Thank you. Now back to our news director.
That's the end of today's DCTV 4-H News program. This is News Director Dan saying good night and thank you for watching. Hey, and don't forget to watch the national championship of the NCAA National Championship between Clemson and Alabama. Go Tigers of Clemson.